Hey, what's going on, guys? Mimic here with another video. This video is going to be about attributes and stats, and we're going to break down what those stats do, or what the attributes do, what you want to stack depending on which kind of character and tune you are running, and kind of what to look out for so that you can get the best out of what you're trying to do. If you're a healer, you're going to want to stack, for healing. If you're DPS, you're going to want to stack for DPS, and so on and so forth. But let's jump straight into the video. This one's going to be pretty straightforward. I'll try to keep it as short as possible. Let's jump in. So what you'll do on the stats is I like to press escape and go to character info. If you click this little button right here, it's going to open and close your stat details. So just click this button right here. It's going to open and close this stat page. Now we'll start from the left, and then I'll talk a little bit more about what all these other stats are. So strength, if you look here, strength serves as a basis for the body, provides strong defense in addition to increasing max health regen, max damage, and minimum damage. Now, when you upgrade your strength, you're going to be getting more max health. So every time you tick this once, you give 1 point into strength, your max health is going to increase. You can see here, this is where your max health is, and then it tells you, if you hover over the max health, what your base health is, how much health you're getting through your equipment, and then how much health you're getting through your enchants. Your enchants are going to be all of your traits, pretty much is what that is. You can see my max health right now is 10.4k. Strength, for DPS, I would probably not focus on strength too much. Maybe for like tanks, you're going to want more strength because you're going to want more health. You're going to want more defense as well. So you're going to want to be using strength for like a tank role. I did put a few points in it, maybe like 4 or 5 points in it just to give me a little bit more health. But outside that, I put most of my points into dex and perception. Let's go ahead and move to dex now. I've got 41 dex right now. Serves as the basis for proficiency, increases your quickness and your critical attacks, in addition to evasion and max damage. So dex is going to give you more evasion, it's going to give you more quickness, you're going to attack quicker with more dex, and you're going to have a more higher cap on your max damage. So if you're trying to go for like DPS, you're going to want high dex. Okay, your wisdom, this is kind of like for casters or anyone that's going to need a lot of mana. So you can see here, it serves as the basis of the mind, increases mana, max mana, and mana regen, and it affects cooldown abilities and max damage. So the more wisdom you have, you're going to have more mana, you're going to have more mana regen, you're going to have quicker cooldowns, and you're going to have a higher max damage cap. So wisdom is kind of like a middle buff in between dex and perception. I did put some points into wisdom, but not a lot. I put maybe like probably like 5 to 8 points in wisdom. And that's I'm still tweaking it. I change it every so often. You can see you get these reset stats. You can reset your stats and tweak them, and then go and fight PvE and PvP to see if you're noticing a difference, and then you can tweak from there. This is kind of where I'm at now. So I've got 21 wisdom. Perception, this is huge. So for DPS, at least for me, I've got a lot of stuns and a lot of CC. So perception, what it's going to do is it serves as the basis for the senses, heightens awareness during battle, increases the accuracy of attacks, CC effects, enhances time boost abilities, and increases max damage and minimum damage. So perception is huge. So it's going to increase your accuracy. So it's going to increase how many times you miss or hit your target. It's also going to increase your CC effects if your CC effects land or they get evaded. And then it's going to enhance your time boost abilities. I believe time boost abilities is going to be like your I believe it's like your heavy attack chance, things like that. I'm not exactly too sure exactly that piece. Time boost abilities. Something tells me that is like an added bonus to any type of cooldown or something on your abilities cooldown. I'm not too sure. I'm still going to research this with my guild and try to get you guys more accurate info. I don't like to give out false info, but I'm not 100% sure on the enhances time boost abilities, to be honest. I'll check to see exactly what that is, but it does increase your max damage and your minimum damage. So you want to stack perception, you want to stack your dex if you're doing like sleeps, if you're doing stuns, if you're doing CCs. The higher perception you have, the more chance you're going to have to actually hit it and proc it. So that's those base stats. That's how they work. This is your melee defense, your magic defense. It's pretty much self-explanatory, and then range defense. And you can read here, proportionally decreases damage taken from melee attacks. So your defense is gonna be, you know, if you're fighting melee, the higher melee defense you have, you're gonna take less damage over melee. Vice versa for magic and range. Pretty straightforward there. I don't think I need to break it down. Base damage, main here is 51 to 192. My attack speed is 0.419, and then my range on the dagger is 2 meters. If I change the weapon, you can see my attack speed changes here. You can change this, and you can look at all your stats. They all change based on the weapon that you're equipping. So for my greatsword, my melee hit is 452. When I switch to my dagger, it goes down, but my critical hit is only 934 when I have my greatsword. When I have my dagger, it goes up. So you can kind of tweak with your settings there on, you know, which item you want to main hand. If your dagger bow, then, you know, you would look at your stats there. If your bow dagger, you would look at your stats there and try to figure out when is the best time to use whichever item you're maining. For me right now, it's dagger greatsword. I was doing greatsword dagger for a while, but I've talked to some guildies. They said over time you actually DPS more with your attack speed on your thorny edge. So right now I'm dagger greatsword. Now melee hit increases the hit rate of normal melee attacks and the chance of applying CC effects with melee skills. Rate increases 1% for every 10 stats. So if I've got 432, that means that I believe I have a 43% chance to melee hit. So if people have like range melee evasion, this stat here you're gonna want higher, because their melee evasion is gonna counter your melee hit. So if you're struggling with missing a lot on people, you're gonna want to stack melee hit on whatever items you have. Any traits that you can put on any of the items, you can stack melee hit so that you can have a higher melee hit. Now at 1,000, that means that you're 100% chance to hit every time, minus whatever buffs the enemy has on their end. So if they have melee evasion, it's going to take that into consideration, and your 1,000 melee hit is actually in reality going to be less, because they're stacking evasion on you. So that's how that works. Think of 1,000 as 100%. Obviously, I don't do range, I don't do magic, so these don't matter. My melee critical hit is close to 1,000, which means that pretty much every attack that I land is going to crit. Every single attack should crit. Now, of course, if they have evasion, then I'm going to be missing some attacks. I'm not going to be landing them, which means I'm not going to be critting. The same thing with range crit hit and magical crit hit. If you're a sorcerer, then it's the same thing, right? You're gonna want to stack magical critical hit so that your skills will crit the majority of time. Same with range. If you're range bow user, crossbow, you're gonna want range crit hit so that every time you do attack someone, it's gonna crit, whether you're doing an auto attack or you're doing one of your spells. So that's how that works. Skill damage boost. You can see here, it proportionally increases damage and heal rate from skills. Chance increases 1% for every 10 stats. So technically I've got a 5% increase on my damage boost. So there's a 5% chance that my damage is going to increase per hit. Pretty much that's how it works. If this was 1,000, which would be super OP, then literally every time I attack, whether it's an auto attack or a skill attack, those damages would be boosted every time. Now it doesn't tell me the amount that it actually boosts it, but it does say my boost overall. So it's not going to tell you, oh, it's being boosted 10%, it's being boosted 20%. I haven't been able to locate the amount that it gets boosted. It only tells me the chance to get boosted. So just wanted to clear that. Damage bonus is a flat bonus. So let's say my base damage, or if you look up top here, it's 192. I have a damage bonus of 11. So yes, my base damage is 192, but I'm also getting a bonus here. So it's just gonna be a flat increase to my base damage of 11. there. That's how that looks. Buff duration, self-explanatory. How long buffs stay on you whenever you're buffed by either an ally or yourself. So I've got plus 16%, which is great. And then here's your melee attack chances there. That's what shows there. And then let's go over here. Melee evasion, same thing, increases the chance of evading melee attacks. Chance increases 1% for every 10. So I've got about 18, if I'm doing the math right, 187 divided by 10 is 18. So I've got about an 18, almost 19% chance to evade melee attacks. So every 1 out of 5 attacks roughly will be evaded based on my current evasion. I do need a more evasion, but I'm actually wanting to do more of a ranged evasion build, because what I notice in PvP is when your back's turned, a lot of those ranges are just sitting in the back lines, getting free shots on you, uncontested, and a lot of the damage you take in this game, at least for me as a melee, is ranged. I rarely fight people one-on-one, melee to melee. It's mainly like casters and ranged people attacking me. So I think ranged evasion is probably the play there. All of these are pretty much self-explanatory as far as evasion, how evasion goes. The higher your evasion, the more you're going to evade their skills, the more you're going to evade their auto attacks, and the higher chance you're going to have of just having the higher evasion and not having to worry about getting stunned, getting rooted, getting slept, getting frozen, all of that. Endurance, from what I gather from my guildies, is don't get trapped into the endurance. These are pretty much trash stats, at least for now, and that's what they're saying, so I'm taking their word for it. Endurance is just the chance of evading critical hits and then taking minimum damage from melee attacks. Now, you would think that's good because you don't want to get critted, but there's just, I think the evasion is better, because if you're evading it, you're not going to get critted. You know what I mean? If you're just evading the attack in general, they're going to miss the crit too, because they're not even hitting you. So I think evasion is more of a priority stat instead of endurance. Unless like you're some tank or something, then you obviously want to do both. But for like your overall DPS or healer, or someone who's, you know, trying not to really die, I think evasion is probably the stat you want to stack instead of endurance. So that's how that works. And all of these stacks work the same. It's all 1%. Everything is 1%. For every 10 that you have here, it's 1%. So on the 50, I've got a 5% chance to evade critical hits for melee. That's pretty much how that works. I have a 10% chance here to evade magic damage. So that's how that works. Skill damage resistance, same thing. It proportionally decreases damage received from skills, and then the chance increases 1% for every 10 stats. So you can see here I've got roughly a 6% damage resistance to all damage, which is pretty OP. This is a very good skill to have. It's best in slot for some of your armor pieces. Skill damage resistance, damage reduction, self-explanatory. Melee heavy attack, range heavy attack, magic heavy attack. These are all self-explanatory as well. I did cover what this is. Heavy attack is best in slot for any type of damage dealer. So if you're a mage, you want magic heavy attack. If you're range, you want range heavy attack. If you're melee, you want melee heavy attack. And what a heavy attack is, it's double damage. So if you hit someone with a crit for 2k and you hit them with the heavy attack, it actually says 2k, and then next to it, it says times 2. So you actually hit them for 4k. That's why heavy attack is so big, and it's best in slot for any damage dealer or anyone doing damage. You want heavy attack on your weapon if you can get it as a trait. Now, all of this stuff up here is the same thing. It's too much to go over in this video, and I don't want to make it too long, but it's the same thing, y'all. It's going to show your max health. It's going to show your max mana. It's going to show you your stamina, your mana cost efficiency. If you've got mana cost efficiency traits, then obviously your mana is going to be stretched out more because you're more efficient on your skills. This is great for casters, healers, things like that. Your cooldown, obviously it's straightforward. Your CDR is your cooldown reduction. So the more cooldown you have, the quicker your spells are going to come up and be able to be used, which overall you get more DPS or healing out the higher your cooldown because you can use your spells more often. Movement speed here, same thing. It just indicates your basic movement speed. Also impacts jump distance. So the more movement speed you have, the farther you can jump and the quicker you run. Health regen, mana regen, it's all self-explanatory. Your Amatoy has a base heal of 200%. I'll make another video about Amatoys here in the next few days. Pretty cool stuff that's going to come out there. Your attack speed, obviously you can put attack speed on like your hands if you want to attack quicker. This is great for any DPS, but mainly like bow users, crossbow users. The more attacks you do, the better. Melee, it's still okay, but I would probably prioritize this more on range for some reason. I think it works better on range for attack speed. But either or, it's shown there. And then you know, that's pretty much it. It's a straightforward video, guys. I mean, the stats are pretty basic to understand. They're broken down by your attack stats right here, and then your protection stats right here. So that's how all of that works. And like, again, it's a pretty straightforward video. I didn't want to make this one too long. It's kind of self-explanatory, but I did want to cover it because I haven't seen any content out on these stats, what they are, how they work, and then kind of how to break down these stats. You can see my highest stat here is my melee critical hit. I stacked crit because I want to make sure that every time I hit someone, it's going to crit. And the more I crit, the more damage I do. The more damage I do, the more kills I get. So that's the video. I hope it makes sense. And I hope any questions you had in regard to the stat menu were answered. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know in the comment section, and I do get to those myself. Try to get to them within 24 hours when they're written in the comment section. If you like the video, don't forget to like. If you want more content, you like the way I do my content, and you like the way I break the videos down and that I'm thorough, hit the sub button, because I'm going to be releasing a ton of content you know, before NA release. And honestly, a lot of the content I'm gonna release, it's gonna help you guys in NA. If you guys watch all the content that I drop, it's all made and it's all written down to help beginners out. So if you're new to the game, you want to play Throne of Liberty, you don't know really too much about the game, but you know you like it, you've seen videos of it, and you want to be in the know before NA releases, watch my videos. I break down everything in depth from kind of beginning to end. And I'll be doing some more videos here covering some more topics in depth that I feel are overlooked, and it's really going to help you guys out if you guys watch those videos. So that's pretty much all I've got, guys. Thanks for the view, and hopefully this video made sense for you guys. Again, drop me a comment if you have any questions, give me a like if you liked the video, and throw me a sub if you want to give me some love. Thanks so much, guys. Till next time, peace.